The dog days of July are desperate. This is RamView.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of straight. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView, the July the 7th, 2023 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues? Get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And by Granite Ridge Christian Camp, a place where your life can change. Yes, this is desperate dead period material time. And I don't have desperate dead period material. I know the game. I'd rather criticize somebody else's desperate dead period material. And one of the things I consider desperate dead period material is when somebody says, hey, Joe, what do you think about the women's soccer and World Cup? Well, I hope they lose. I hope they're crushed. My personal belief is, as Americans, we're better off every time soccer fails. I know that's going to get some people upset. I'm not a soccer guy. I watched the World Cup. I found myself rooting for Argentina because that's where my wife's from. But it's just not any part of the big three, right? It's like I got three friends. It's like an old Seinfeld episode with Ramon. I got three friends. Seinfeld has Kramer, Costanza, and Elaine. You know, I've got the NFL, I've got MLB, and I've got kind of the NBA. And during the playoffs, I've got the NHL. I don't have room for soccer in my life. So that would be really desperate of me to start talking women's soccer on the show just because there's nothing much to talk about in the NFL ranks right now. It is all speculation and all desperate dead period material. So I got about three things here that I want to get out of the way to clear up some desperate dead period material. First thing I saw was Aaron Donald ranks as one of the top linemen in the NFL. Okay, right? And the Beatles are a great band. Personally, I don't care where Aaron Donald ranks. I don't. You've got so many lazy sports guys out there that it's like, who cares what they think about where he ranks, right? You got the Matthew Stafford lists, the quarterback lists. That tells you how much work people are putting in. And when somebody comes out and tells you the Rams are tanking this year to get Caleb Williams, they just haven't done their work. And so when I see something thrown up there, Aaron Donald ranks as one of the top linemen in the NFL, it's like, really? Okay. If you're an old sports guy in this town, there was a guy named Alan Malamud, probably the most fun read ever in sports writing. And he had notes on the scorecard at the old Herald Examiner. And when they went belly up, he ended up going to the LA Times, and he had what they call the page 2 column. Well, when Mud, that's what they called him, when Mud died, sad day for LA sports, when Mud died, they gave the column to Randy Harvey, and he just wasn't up to snuff. And Randy Harvey had the kind of column that would go, hey, Aaron Donald ranks as one of the top linemen in the NFL after he's been in the league for 10 years, 9 years. So it's like, yeah, okay. It was like, and the Beatles are a great band. And personally, if you're a Ram fan, I don't care where Aaron Donald ranks, okay? He's got his ring. He's got his dough. He's going to Canton. Personally, all I care about now are some wins over the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and 10 games to get into the playoffs. That's what I want from Aaron Donald right now. So I thought that was an important thing to make note of. The second one, any NFL list, and I alluded this to, any NFL quarterback list, and it is desperate dead period time. I see them all over the place. I can't go anywhere without seeing these things. Is an NFL quarterback list showing Matthew Stafford behind Tua, Dak, Kirk Cousins, or Russell Wilson is a list not worth paying any attention to, okay? You leave them on the subway and you move on. It is literally the weakest desperate dead period material. Well, maybe the second weakest. Aaron Donald being a great defensive lineman might be the worst. Now, you could put Stafford behind Mahomes, Burrow, Josh Allen, Herbert for the Justin Herbert for the Chargers, and I won't argue with you, okay? But honestly, I'm suspect of Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. I am. I don't know if I would take those guys over Matthew Stafford. Aaron Rodgers has the same amount of Super Bowl wins as Matthew Stafford. And Aaron Rodgers played in the Green Bay Packer organization, not the Detroit Lions organization. Aaron Rodgers has to worry about psychedelics and dark rooms where, Matthew Stafford's dealing with PTDS, post-traumatic Detroit syndrome. I'll go with Matthew Stafford. And I like Lamar Jackson. I think he works hard. I think he loves the game. I have no problem with Lamar Jackson winning. I just don't think Lamar Jackson's great. Not in the postseason, not when it matters most. And wanted to get that one out there. Matthew Stafford, again, I don't care where he's at on a list, but when you see him behind Tua, Dak, Kirk Cousins, and all those guys, no one's really putting up a serious list there. Okay, moving on. Desperate dead period material number 3. Colin Cowherd, who I give credit to for working on the 4th of July. He didn't have to, but he did. He does his job. That guy works hard. Most talented guy behind a mic doing sports around. Whether you like him or not, he just is. But his constant crowing about Daniel Jones, the Giants quarterback, and his contract. It's a 4-year, 160 rock contract, and it's becoming so jejune, incredibly jejune, that Cowherd keeps talking about it. It's jejunosity, which means it's stupid, it's old, it's played. Little more than half of that contract, of that 160, is guaranteed, okay? Jones is averaging about 40 rocks a year. And Cowherd was saying, do you want to pay him as much as Matthew Stafford or any of these other guys? And it's like, well, Stafford did a team-friendly deal because he wants to win. Try to get Aaron Rodgers to do that, right? Derek Carr is on a team-friendly deal. Patrick Mahomes is on a team-friendly deal. And honestly, Joe Burrow playing for the Cincy Bengals and Josh Allen, they better think about team-friendly deals, or these runs of theirs, these windows that they have, are going to close a lot sooner. Geno Smith is making about 39 rocks a year. Okay, that's the kind of money that Daniel Jones is making. Geno Smith is on 78 mil for 2 years, and Daniel Jones is on 4 years, 160, and his last 2 years aren't guaranteed. So what's the big deal? I'm not saying Daniel Jones is a great quarterback, and I don't know if I want to be on the hook for Lamar Jackson's 52 rocks, Jalen Hurts' 51, Aaron Rodgers' 50, or Russell Wilson's 48.5, or Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson's 46, okay? Those guys took their bread, took their dough, and now we're going to see what's going to happen around him. But those contracts are already starting to be dated. 40 grand, 40 rocks, 40 million is the baseline for a starting quarterback these days. We don't need to comment on whether it's ridiculous or not, but it is the starting baseline for an NFL quarterback right now, unless that quarterback's taking a little less, like, say, Derek Carr, because the Saints have been in cap hell. If you think the Rams have been in cap hell, the Saints have really been in cap hell. Now, let me give you some good dead period material. There's a guy that writes or has contributed to Turf Show Times. His name's Kenneth Arthur, and he wrote an article speaking about knowing the difference between Aaron Donald's trade rumors and speculation, okay? There's a difference between trade rumors. Trade rumors is there's backdoor discussions of people talking about trading Aaron Donald. Speculations are the what if the Rams start 0-12. If the Rams started 0-12 or 0-9, yeah, I'm up for trading everybody. I'm up for trading everybody. Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald as well, and Matthew Stafford. I'm up for trading everybody if the Rams start 0-9 or 0-12. But that's speculation. And Arthur does a good job on Turf Show Times. I can promote other people. He does a really good job talking about the difference between trade rumors and speculation. And he even says we should know the difference, but sometimes we don't when we look at headlines. Okay. Regarding the NFL, since there's limited Ram news, I was thinking about Dalvin Cook the other day. Dalvin Cook is still a really good running back. He turns 28 this August, on August the 10th. And he's made about 34 rocks in his career. He made $34 million already in his career. Spot Track lists his current value at 8.7, that he's worth 8.7. I think the franchise tag is getting these running backs 10.7. So the market is diminished for running backs. And Dalvin Cook has showed he's one of the few bell cows in this league. But who wants to pay 8.7 even to a running back when you could win a Super Bowl with Isaiah Pacheco making 7th round money? Why? Why would you do that? You just wouldn't. That's why. And so Cook is out there. And this is just me deciding Dalvin Cook's future. And a little bit Ezekiel Elliott, but I don't think Ezekiel Elliott is still producing the way Dalvin Cook is. Okay. But if I'm Dalvin Cook, if he's asking me, I think he should become a mercenary. He's made $34 million. He's not going to make anything near that going forward in the NFL. And there might be a pendulum swing, but by the time that pendulum swings, his career is going to be over. And so Cook really should become a mercenary and hire himself out to the best team, right? Hire himself out 1 year, 1 rock. Just say, pay me $1 million, I'll come to your team for 1 year. Go to Buffalo, go to Cincy, go to KC, go to Baltimore, chase a ring, and go to Frisco. Just 1 million. Just do that. Do that for 1 year and do it over again the next year, and again the next year, and again the next year after that. Dalvin Cook has made $34 million. He should be financially set. But what he doesn't have is the bling, the ring that will get him a spot on the next America's team or American football, the NFL network, the Super Bowl memory stuff, right? And that's what you want. You want people talking about you. No one talks about Ken Anderson from the Bengals because the Bengals never won. Very few people talk about some of these great players. They're not interviewed because their teams didn't go to the Super Bowl. You never see consistent interviews of the 78 Los Angeles Rams or the 76 Rams. You know why? Because they didn't win anything. And Dalvin Cook is going to come and go, like Corey Dillon, like Amon Green, like Rodney Hampton, like Neil Anderson. He's going to come and go, and no one's going to remember him. Unfortunately, that's even probably the Rams' Steven Jackson. But he's 28. He's made 34 big ones. Go be a mercenary. Hire yourself out and be that free agent that everyone wants to kind of help close the deal, and get yourself some rings before it's over. That's good advice too, because I know he listens to me, is DeAndre Hopkins, right? DeAndre Hopkins is 31. He's made $114 million in his career, 114 rocks. He should be financially set. And also, by this point, Cook and Hopkins do qualify for NFL pensions as well. Should be financially set. DeAndre Hopkins should be thinking the same way. Instead of looking for that next big payday, which everyone seems a little timid about giving to him, you know what? Go to KC for a rock. Go to Baltimore for a rock. Go to Cleveland for a rock. Go to Buffalo for a rock. Go someplace where they need a receiver and try to get yourself a ring, because you know what? They're going to forget you. They're going to forget you. Andre Johnson, Houston, huh? Who? Eric Moulds, Buffalo, huh? Who? Right? They come and they go. Henry Ellard, Rams. We remember him, but he should be better remembered by the league, but there's no rock. There's no rock. And DeAndre Hopkins has made his dough. He should be thinking along the same way. Take my advice. Be a mercenary. Play one place 1 year, move on to someplace else, and start collecting rings. But I don't know if anyone's going to listen to me. Okay, finally, this was one story that came across this week that I missed earlier, was a former NFL linebacker, Johnny Cooks. I remember Johnny Cooks. I remember seeing Johnny Cooks' highlight film back in '82 when he was at Mississippi State. And I thought that'd be really cool if the Rams got him, but they weren't going to get him at number 2 overall. And the Baltimore Colts at the time, took him in the NFL draft in '82. and he was kind of an inside linebacker. They moved to the outside when they got to Indy. He had 11 sacks. He had a very average career. His highlights looked great, but he played 10 years, and he was on the Giants' Super Bowl 25 team where Scott Norwood missed the field goal. He hung around long enough to win a Super Bowl ring. Chances are we're going to be talking more about Johnny Cooks someday than maybe DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think so, but you know what I mean? Cooks has a ring or had a ring, and his family has the ring now. But Cooks played in 128 NFL games starting 97, had 32. It's a very average career for a number 2 overall. I just remember him because I remember seeing his highlights, but oh man, that'd be awesome if the Rams could get him. They didn't. He had an average career, but he passed away. They didn't say how he died, but he was only 64. And I thought it was worth mentioning Johnny Cooks today. Okay, Ram news. Trying to find Ram news today that's worth talking about is like trying to find something new about the JFK assassination, the Titanic, or who left the blow in the White House, right? Find something new. I can't find anything new. All I know is that Byron Young and Kobe Turner are the 2 of the 14 draft picks that have yet to sign. It's not a holdout situation. They're getting these deals worked out. It's nothing to worry about. So let's move on to the Kistler Law trivia question of the day. I got to get a soundbite for that. I got to get some kind of like the trivia question of the day and then some kind of ding, 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 right? But this is the Kistler Law trivia question of the day. Which Rams running back has the most career fumbles with 51? I'll repeat that. Which Rams running back has the most career fumbles with 51? A, Dick Scooter Bass, B, Wendell Tyler, C, Steven Jackson, or D, Eric Dickerson? We'll give the answer at the end of the show. Okay, moving right on. We are in commercial time. I am Joe Terosian, and I was a sports writer for 21 years. I write books now, and I do RamView, and I do this to supplement my income for my day job. I am a pastor of a small church in Burbank Faith Nazarene, and you can follow us right here as superfan Tim Burns did at Burbank Faith Virtual. That's our channel. And I just remembered Tim Burns sent me his predictions for this season, game by game, and I'm not going to get to them today. Sorry, Tim. I will get to them on Monday. My apologies. So that's what I do. You can check me out on Burbank Faith Virtual. You can check me out here at RamView, Joe T Sports, and follow us, hit like and subscribe, and leave comments, hit share button as we build our footprint. Footprint's eking up a little bit. Spotify's up and down. As I shared, when somebody said, "Oh, Joe, you should put this stuff on regular podcast," I did, and butkus, man, I got nothing, right? And so if you can follow us on Spotify, that would be marvelous. I would really be grateful if you could help us out there to help, again, build our footprint and support our sponsors who allow me to do this. Temple City Auto Repair, and of course, number one sponsor, Kistler Law Firm. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. All right. My books, by the way, two high school football novels, several other books. They're all found on Amazon. Just type in Joe Terosian. Okay, in the commercial. Born on this day in 1990, Benny Cunningham. Now, that is not the Benny Cunningham who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, tied in on their Super Bowl teams. This is the Rams' Benny Cunningham. He turns 33 today. Cunningham was an undrafted free agent who made the Rams team in 2013. He played 4 seasons for the Rams. You have to remember Benny Cunningham. He actually was still with the squad their first year in LA. He was a 5'10", 218 pound running back out of Middle Tennessee State, primarily a kick returner. He did some spot rushing in his career, rushed for less than 1,000 yards. In his 4 seasons with the Rams, he ran for 748 yards, 797 in his career. So he was basically a mop-up guy or a change of pace guy. But he caught 114 passes in his NFL career, over 90 of those with the Rams for 1,000 yards. And so he was productive, and he was a free agent after the 2016 season. Sean McVay came in. Of course, he was blown out. But for a UDFA to have 4 seasons, actually 6 seasons in the NFL, he played 2 years for the Bears, got cut by the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2019, and that was the end of his career. He was 28 when his career was over, and as hard as he worked, that's a pretty good career for a guy at a Middle Tennessee State who wasn't drafted. He made $5.3 million in career earnings. That's pretty good before getting your life started. You hope he took care of it, and maybe he's parlayed that into something else. But Cunningham kind of rose to the spotlight a year after he left the NFL. He tweeted that the NFL Football League scripts its games and forces players to sign a non-disclosure agreement on the matter. He said that on Twitter, and another website, very small website called Sports Rush, picked that up. It hasn't gone anywhere, but that's not going to win you any friends, Cunningham. And I think there's just too many people involved for that kind of a conspiracy. You know, as we often say, when 12 men or 12 cabinet guys couldn't protect the greatest office in the history, they couldn't keep their mouths shut. Do you think any non-disclosure agreement's gonna hold up when you have thousands of players and associated people involved with the NFL? So, doesn't feel scripted unless you're in New Orleans and people feel like New Orleans needs a break because they suffered Katrina. But other than that, no, there are no. Oh, I'm sorry. And also in Dallas, right? When the Lions are there. Anyway, I digress. The NFL's not scripted. Oh, unless, just kidding. Okay. So happy birthday to Benny Cunningham. He's only 33, career over at the age of 28. That's so interesting when you think about the NFL. Tomorrow, July 8th, is the 11th anniversary of the passing of Dr. Dentist John Williams. He was the Rams' right tackle through most of the 70s. Rams gave up a draft pick, a high draft pick, actually, I think a number 1, to get him after the Klosterman Rosenblum group came over in 72. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 66. John Williams was never a star, but John Williams was super consistent. He was the guy you can count on. And it really is amazing when you think about the Rams had John Williams, and then it was Jackie Slater at right tackle, and these guys were there forever. And that, again, just shows you the longevity, the high level of play of the Rams offensive line. But John Williams, by all accounts, is a great man, and I just think it bears mentioning that tomorrow is the 11th year of his anniversary. He passed away at the age of 66. Also tomorrow, on tomorrow's date, July 8th, in 1982, the Rams, 2 months after dealing with the Colts to acquire Burt Jones, 1 month after the retirement of Pat Hayden, the Rams re-signed Vince Ferragamo to come home back to Anaheim after he had a lost season in Montreal, a season where he threw 7 touchdown passes, 25 interceptions, and was made the third-string quarterback before the season ended. Ferragamo, if you remember, led the Rams to the Super Bowl in 79, had a great season in 80, threw 30 touchdown passes, I think. And then the Rams offered him $250,000 for the 81 season. I don't know what the length was going forward, but for the 81 season, he would have made $250,000. But he went to Canada because Montreal Alouettes owner Nelson Skilbania offered him $600,000, super high for those days. And he signed that contract with the Alouettes, and it was a disaster for him. You'd think he had the arm to play in the CFL. Maybe he just didn't have the mobility. You know, there's 12 players on each side. Field's about 20 yards longer, 10 yards this way, 10 yards that way. And he struggled. So he was released after the 81 season. And on July the 8th, he re-signed with the Rams after Hayden's retirement, the acquiring of Burt Jones. He signed a 3-year, $350,000 deal. Good thing he did. Jones's neck went out on him 4 games into 82. And for the next few years, Vince Ferragamo had the job. Born on July 8th, which would be tomorrow, Billy Jenkins. He's a former strong safety for the Rams. He was with the team for 3 years, 97 through 99. He was a 2-year starter. He turns 49 tomorrow. He spent those 3 seasons with the Rams. He was a strong safety, 5'10", 205, an undrafted free agent out of Howard, not Harvard. And he had a nice little run there with the Rams, undrafted free agent. He was a starter on that Rams Super Bowl team. He had a nice playoff, those 3 playoff games where the Rams won the Super Bowl. Postseason, he had 19 tackles and a sack, and he did a great job. Really great. Rams win the title. Mike Jones stops Kevin Dyson a half yard away. About a month or so later, in March of 2000, the Rams trade Billy Jenkins for a pair of fifth-round draft picks that the front office, of course, butchered. They drafted interior lineman Brian Young, who was a quasi-starter, 2001, 2003, and he left with the Saints. The other draft pick they dealt for Demetrius Butler. But it was a good move in one sense because Jenkins was out of the NFL by 2002 at the age of 28. At the age of 28. Something to think about. How long is his career going to last? And but he turns 49 tomorrow, and I think it's worth mentioning since he was a starter on the defense on that Greatest Show on Turf team, and the Rams got a lot of clicks out of him. So good for him. Okay, we are at week 12 of the Rams season. We've looked at all the teams the Rams are playing week by week and the defenses they're facing. When we finish the season, we're going to go back and start over again and look at all the offenses the Rams are going to be facing. Now, they're starting the back half of the season, so they're playing teams that they've already played against. And so this will be the second game against the Cardinals in week 12, which is November 26, 2023, in Glendale, in Arizona. And the first game, I do have the Rams winning that. I think that was week 6. Colt McCoy still going to be quarterback then. We talked about all the losses the Cardinals had: J.J. Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, Rodney Hudson. They did a nice job in the draft, but they're still far away. They start the season with the Texans, the Giants, the Cowboys, the 49ers, Bengals, and the Rams. So by the time they left SoFi, they were 0-6. Easy to project. Right on track for Caleb Williams. Since losing to the Rams, I project them losing to Seattle, the Ravens, the Browns, the Falcons, and yes, the Texans. And so I see them at a nice, big, fat 0-11 by the time Kyler Murray and friends, because Kyler Murray will be back by the time they get back to Glendale, and the Rams show up over there over that Thanksgiving weekend, November 26th. At this point, I think the Rams are even going to be a better team. I think the defense is going to be better. Outside of one aberration, Kyler Murray has never been dangerous to the Rams. And here's the thing about Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a splash player. He will make a splash play. He's got to find a splash receiver to do it with this right now because DeAndre Hopkins is gone. But so is Christian Kirk. So that'll be interesting. How much mobility is he going to have? At 0-11, do the Cardinals say, you know what, Kyler, just stay here and we don't want to interrupt the Caleb Williams train? There's no way. If the Rams lose this game, there really should be some issues here. The Rams would be going into this game 4-6 with wins over the Colts, the Cards, the Packers, and the Seahawks in week 11. And they got losses to the Seahawks: Frisco, Pitt, Philly, Dallas, and Cincy. So they're 4-6. By the time this game is over, the Rams are going to be 5-6. And everyone's going to be having all that fantasy talk like, oh my gosh, this team's for real. And we're going to have to say, hold your horses because this is just the Cardinals. But this Ram team is going to be getting better in the back half of the season. And so they're 5-6, and we'll see where they land going into next week's game. I'm going to have to check to see who they play, but the Rams are going to work the Cardinals, and that's that. So the Rams will be 5-6. That scary start, that 3-6 start, we could see them going 5-6 if everything stays well on the offense. In fact, I wouldn't doubt a 40 burger being dropped on the Cardinals unless there's just some ridiculous stuff going on. All right, so cool.
It was a stone group, my man.
It was a stone group, but we're not over because we have the trivia answer to the trivia question. So let's get back up there. And I do need some kind of sound thing to get to that. And we'll get to that. The Kistler Law trivia question of the day: which Rams running back has the most career fumbles with 51? A, Dick Scooter Bass, with B, Wendell Tyler, C, Steven Jackson, D, Eric Dickerson. And if you've written this, if you see this later, you want to drop it into the chat box, drop it into the chat box. But I'll give you the answer. Well, the answer is Eric Dickerson with 51 fumbles. Now, that's not 51 fumbles lost. That's just 51 fumbles, 51 times it came out of his hands. Now, here's the interesting thing to look at. Dickerson fumbled 51 times. That's not 51 lost. He just dropped it 51 times out of 1,525 carries for the Rams. Okay. Scooter Bass, Dick Bass, fumbled 43 times in 1,218 carries for the Rams. Wendell Tyler, who everyone thought fumbled way too much, Wendell Tyler fumbled 37 times in 720 carries. And here's the one that I thought was interesting. Steven Jackson, no ring, no sing. No one's talking about him. This guy is Hall of Fame material. Steven Jackson carried the ball 2,396 times for the Rams, and he only fumbled 23 times. In fact, I'd have to go back and check. Counting his last year with the Rams, his 2 seasons with the Falcons, and I think 1 partial season with the New England Patriots. Those parts of those last 4 seasons, he didn't fumble at all. And he carried the ball 800 times more than Eric Dickerson and on some bad teams. And he fumbled 28 less times. But Dickerson's the answer. And that's really good. But I just, again, if anyone wants to come to me and ask me to start the fan waving for Steven Jackson in Hall of Fame, yeah, I'm ready to talk about Steven Jackson in the Hall of Fame. You know, he had a great season. So that's that. And
the sports picture.
That is the sports picture. And we will get out of here and let you guys go. Was that Jim Healy?
The sports picture.
Jim Healy. All right. So yeah, there's no reason I can't get a little thing for the trivia for the Kistler Law Firm trivia question of the day. I'm Joe Tarosian. Thank you so much for those that are watching, clicking on, those that are giving encouragement. I understand, hey, times are busy. You don't have to watch it live. You can watch it anytime. But just be sure when you do, hit like and subscribe and leave a comment, and we would appreciate it. Okay, God bless. Take care, and we will talk to you on Monday.